Related show are those of the show personalities and guest alone, and not those of Vic Canellis Media Group, its parent, affiliates, or stations. VCMG Live is not responsible for any content, information, or opinions expressed. User bears full responsibility for their reliance on such content, information, or opinions.
Welcome to Soul Care with your host, Loredana Vasi, where healing meets the heart. This show dives into all things wellness, from holistic and spiritual healing to expert insights on health and self-care. Get ready for meaningful conversations, special guests, and inspiration for your journey to well-being. If you have any questions about home health care or want to continue the conversation, contact Lori today at 561-821-5811 or visit sunshinehomecareservices.com. Let's begin.
Welcome to Soul Care, where we meet every other Thursday at 7:30. I am Lori, I am your host, and every other Thursday we are going to meet and we are going to explore together beautiful thoughts and insights, inspiring stories and meaningful conversation that will uplift your soul, your heart, and spirit. Whether we are discussing soul healing, whether we are discussing compassionate care, especially with seniors, this place is for connection, reflection, and growth. Let's dive in together every other Thursday at 7:30. Lori with Sunshine Home Care Services. Welcome everyone to Soul Care, where we come together every other Thursday to explore transformative topics, share wisdom, and engage in beautiful conversations like tonight to uplift and inspire. I'm your host, Lori, and I'm honored to share the space with you. This show is all about connection, growth, and the power of healing, and in all forms and ages. Today, I'm incredibly excited to introduce a very special guest, a very special friend that is not only a dear friend, but is a profound healer and teacher. Stephen is a certified healing teacher under Master Jigangsha Academy, where we are both students, and a Tao calligraphy healing field practitioner, a Tao song healer, and a music producer known as Soul Love. He lives to uplift others and to help people connect to their highest level, and cannot wait to dive in his journey and listen all about him and his story and what he has to share. Welcome, Steve.
Thank you, Lori. Good to be here. Happy to be here.
So let's start. A small introduction about you, and we would love to hear a little bit about your journey and how the word of soul healing, and how did you discover Master Sha?
So I would take it back to 2014, around the end of 2014. My life was very different at that time. I was kind of just opening to healing and spirituality. And at that point in time, I was actually quite sick. I was diagnosed by my integrated medicine doctor with something called chronic kidney deficiency, as well as really severe fibromyalgia. Fibromyalgia is, for those who don't know, fibromyalgia is a nerve disorder. It's very painful. It felt like pins and needles throughout my body, and just a musculoskeletal and nerve condition. And it was difficult. I woke up every day in pain. I was getting sick all the time, and just really, really low energy, and things were very challenging that year. And so I sought the help of a lot of different modalities and healers and, medical doctors, and I really honor all healing modalities and practices. They're all wonderful in their own way. But what I was finding was that nothing could really heal what I had at the root condition. And so around that point in time, a friend introduced me to our teacher, Master Sha's center in Toronto, recommended that I go. And so I went, I started applying the practices and modalities myself, and over a short period of time, I noticed that my conditions were much better. And so the symptoms that I had reduced, I started feeling a lot better in the day-to-day, and I could really feel the power of the work in a very short period. And so that's kind of how it all started.
Oh my God, this is so beautiful. And what was the turning point that made you fully committed to this path?
Oh man, it's so many years ago, right? I'm trying to think back to one turning point. And I'd say, it was probably a number of different things over time that happened that all kind of pointed me in this direction and just made me realize the power of this work and that it was all very real and very potent. But I'll share one experience that really stands out, and that is around this same point in time, the beginning of 2015, around there, and this all kind of opened up for me. I remember doing a practice just in my house at the time, and it was a practice to open something that we call the most important chi channel in the body. And so the chi channel, for those who don't know, is a channel in the body that starts in your first chakra, what we call the soul house, and it moves up the 7 chakras to the top or crown chakra, and then down an area in the back of the torso, back down to the first chakra, and it runs in a circuit that way. And I was doing this practice just to build my energy, because fibromyalgia, it's like your chi or your energy is very low, and that was a practice I was advised to do. And so I started doing this practice, and then all of a sudden, I stopped doing the mantra and chanting and the meditation, and all of a sudden I felt this huge energy literally start interfacing and connecting with me. So I could feel something from above that was supporting me and helping me through it. And it was like, almost like a laser light, like going up and down the area of my head and then down my spine into my torso. And this lasted for maybe an hour. And it was so incredibly powerful. And so when things like that happen, you know in a very deep and felt way that there's something higher that is operating through you, and something very real and visceral that is helping you heal. Because I wasn't doing anything at the time. I was just kind of very present and letting this higher energy and force kind of heal me. And what was really happening was that was source. What we refer to as source and Tao is the same word. And so that was source and some higher level saints and guides on my team really showing me that we are here and that this work is very special. And this is our signal to you that this is
the right thing.
Real and the right thing. And so that always stands out in my mind. And after that, it was like, yeah, I was all in. Because when those things happen, you realize that it's very real and very potent, and it just really opened my heart.
I had a similar experience, and when I got my Tao hands. Can you tell me about that? Do you have Tao hands?
Yeah.
How often, and can you tell us about it?
Yeah, Tao. I say often, Tao hands is maybe the best thing I've ever done in my life.
I
just
can't
because
agree.
it really opened the path for me. So, for those who don't know, Tao hands is a very special spiritual modality. Something called a Tao light transmission that our teacher, Master Sha, has brought forward to the world and to help people heal. And so do you want me to explain Tao hands,
yes,
what they are? Okay. So Tao hands are what we call a Tao light transmission. And so a Tao light transmission, first is to share that about 20 years ago or so, our teacher, Master Sha, who is an absolutely remarkable man and healer, Originally from China. He is actually originally a medical doctor and traditional Chinese medicine doctor, a grand master of many different traditions from China, and Tai Chi, I Ching, Feng Shui, Qigong, etc. But more than anything, he is a absolutely prolific healer and spiritual master. He is a Tao master. Tao, again, means source or creator. And so about 20 years ago, he started offering to people who were sick, who really needed healing, this modality called a Tao light transmission. And people can receive Tao light transmissions into their body for healing specific parts of the body. And so, for instance, if someone has a lung disease, they can receive a Tao light transmission into their lungs or a different organ or part of the body to heal that part of the body. And these all come through Master Sha's channel. As a Tao channel, he has a special ability to connect to Tao or source and to transmit these transmissions to people who are in need of healing. And so he started doing this about 20 years ago. And so you can picture Tao light transmissions as a ball of light that people can receive in different parts of the bodies or organs or systems to heal those parts of the bodies. But what they actually are, I'll just share briefly that in Tao teachings, everything in existence is made of different layers of existence. And so everything is made of matter, the stuff that you can see and touch and has form. Everything has qi, or energy, flowing through that matter. Everything in Tao teachings, as well as Buddhist teachings, as well as many other spiritual disciplines, everything is conscious and has a mind. And everything in Tao teachings has a heart and soul. And I could share a lot on what the soul is scientifically. I highly recommend checking out another teacher in our community, Dr. Rulin Chu's work on Tao science. She's been able to define the soul scientifically. Fascinating work as a quantum physicist, what she's doing. But coming back to transmissions, everything in existence is made of these layers: matter, energy, consciousness, heart, and soul. And so Tao light transmissions as well are made of these things, but they are transmitted originally through Master Sha's channel from a very high frequency and vibration, actually from the vibration and frequency of Tao or source, into a person's body. So you can picture them as a light ball, but what they actually are is literally a source ball that contains source matter, source energy, source consciousness, etc. And so when a person receives a transmission, often it feels incredible. It's like a burst of light and energy in that area. It feels really good. But the real power of a transmission is that a person can connect to it, meditate with it, practice with it for healing purposes, and just focus on it with their senses. And there's a protocol we use to do this. It's very simple. But when a person connects with their transmission and focuses on it and has the intention for it to heal that part of the body, what happens is when they focus and connect to it, because the transmission comes from that very high frequency and comes from source, when a person focuses and connects with the transmission, they are therefore connecting more deeply with source, because it comes from source. And through a process called quantum entanglement, it begins to pull in a huge amount of positive energy and a huge amount of what we call virtue, which basically means positive information. Some people call that positive karma, to the area of the body to heal the negative information or negative karma that is the root cause of that issue. We teach in Tao and Buddhist teachings as well that the root cause of every blockage is on the soul level. So we refer to this as negative information. Others can refer to that as negative karma. And so when you connect and practice with a transmission, it acts like a funnel of a huge amount of positive energy, a huge amount of positive information, what we call virtue or positive karma, to transform the negative information or negative karma that is the root cause of that block. And so that's what a Tao light transmission is. That's how they work. Tao hands is a very special, specific transmission that someone can receive into their hand and use it to offer healing to others for any part of the body, any aspect of life, or themselves. It acts in the same way. It's connected to Source or Tao, and when a person connects to it and asks for it to heal a specific request in another or for yourself, it directs a huge stream of positive energy and virtue, positive information to that person to heal them. And so that's what Tao hands is. It's a unbelievably powerful spiritual healing modality that has come through Master Sha's lineage.
This sounds magical. I want to talk about how often do you use your Tao hands, and for me was the biggest transformation, and I use my Tao hands for everything and every day, and I cannot imagine my life without Tao hands, and everything changed after I received my blessings and I got my Tao hands, and I use it even sometimes in traffic where my negative energy builds up.
You use it whenever you want.
I use it with forgiveness practice, whereas the most complicated practice that I do is forgiveness practice. But how did it transform your life and your professional career? And how often do you practice and use your Tao hands?
I mean, I'd say I use it certainly most days. There are a lot of different practices that we do, and different modalities we use, Tao calligraphy, Tao song, which we'll probably talk about later. But I use Tao hands, I would say, certainly most days. And, I try to be in a state of practice for like a couple hours a day.
Wow.
Throughout the day. As you don't
Wonderful.
hit that all the time, of course. Sometimes life is busy, but if I'm doing sessions with someone who's receiving one-on-one healing guidance, often we're doing practice and we're doing healing together with the modalities and with Tao hands, etc. So between that and my own practices, I try to use it for a couple hours a day.
That's amazing, and don't we feel more powerful every time we practice, every time we apply Tao hands, we feel like we can overcome everything. Now let's talk about the calligraphies. For those who may not be familiar, what are the Tao calligraphies and how do they work? And we have a commercial break. We're going to take a few minutes and we'll be right back to explore more about Tao healing and Tao calligraphies.
Do you want the opportunity to have a TV show or podcast? Now, at Amp Media Productions, you can host your very own visual broadcast anywhere around the world. With our talented group of creators, we will provide you with show elements, board operations, and any on-screen visuals you'd like to showcase. All you must do is log onto your computer and communicate with your viewers. Contact Amp Media Productions at 866-224-5422 or email hello@amp2.tv to start your own show today.
Receive the very best in home care. At Sunshine Home Care Services, our mission is simple yet profound: to support and enhance the lives of our clients. We genuinely enhance the quality of life and offer a comprehensive suite of 26 services tailored to meet every need. We go beyond the basics with health monitoring, emotional support, pet care, and home safety checks. Sunshine Home Care Services is more than just a service. It's a partnership in care. We invite you to experience the difference a compassionate team can make. For a personal consultation, call us today at 561-821-5811.
Welcome back to Soul Care with Loredana Vasi, where we explore the power of healing, mind, body, and soul. If you have any questions about home health care or want to continue the conversation, contact Lori today at 561-821-5811 or visit sunshinehomecareservices.com. Now, let's get back to the show.
Welcome back, everyone. So our next topic is the Tao healing and the calligraphies, and those are our main tools that we apply every day. And I would, for those who might not be familiar, what is the Tao calligraphy healing and how does it work?
So Tao calligraphy is another very special healing modality that has come through Master Sha and his lineage and what he's brought forward to the world. And the first thing I'd say is that they're actually beautiful pieces of art. And if you see them, if for those listening, if you just Google Tao, T-A-O, calligraphy, you will see these images of beautiful calligraphies that Master Sha has created for healing purposes. And so they're written in a specific script. They're it's in something called Ibiza one-stroke writing, so that's almost the equivalent of cursive writing, but in Chinese. So they're Chinese characters, and all these strokes of the characters are connected in one line, almost like cursive writing. And the characters are very high-frequency words and messages, like love or forgiveness or compassion or what have you. But what really makes them so special and powerful ultimately really has to do with Master Sha and who he is as a healer and a being on Mother Earth at this time. So Master Sha is a Tao master, what I was mentioning before. Tao means source or creator. And when Master Sha creates these calligraphies, he goes into a deep state of connection with Tao and with Source and with a huge team of higher level saints and Buddhas and angels, etc. And from that deep state of connection and entanglement with them, he writes the calligraphy. And because he is deeply entangled with Source and with these beings at this moment, while he's writing the calligraphy itself becomes deeply entangled with Source and with this frequency. And it carries that vibration. So if you're in a room of Tao calligraphies, for instance, and you just put your hand over top of them, you will feel a very powerful energy coming off of them. And so we teach people to heal with Tao calligraphy in different ways, but if you're, for instance, in front of them, or if you have one in a book, or just in front of you, and you connect with it, so if you connect with it through tracing or just through your senses, and we teach something called Dan tracing, which is tracing it almost in a Tai Chi motion. You trace the shape of the calligraphy with your body. So when you entangle with the calligraphy and connect with it in these ways, because the calligraphy itself is a carrier and deeply entangled with Source and with that frequency, when we practice with it and we connect with it, we are deeply connecting with Source and with that frequency through it, through a process called quantum entanglement, because it is connected to Source and carries that vibration. When we connect to the calligraphies through our senses, through tracing, etc., we are entangling with them. And it begins, like with Tao light transmissions, it begins to pull in a huge amount of positive energy and a huge amount of positive information or virtue into our body to transform the negative information or negative karma that is the root cause of the blocks that we have in our body and in our life in general. And so they act as a huge channel or funnel, portal of that frequency, of that energy and virtue from Source into us. So that's what a Tao calligraphy is.
Let's talk about the Tao song.
Sure.
Shall we?
Yeah.
Our most and the best healing mantra that we use every day, and I live by it. I have actually a device in my apartment that goes 24/7, and I cannot imagine living without its frequencies. But let's talk about the Tao song, the love, peace,
Tao
and
song.
harmony. We love it so much. And how do we teach other, and where can they find the Tao song for the beginners?
Tao song is an incredible healing modality that Master Sha has also developed that teaches people to use their own voice to offer healing to another. And so our Tao song, in our community, a Tao song healer is actually someone who uses a very special transmission. I was mentioning Tao light transmissions before. Our Tao song healers use a transmission that goes into a specific channel or pathway in their body. In Tao teachings, in order to sing at a very high frequency, there's a specific channel in your body that needs to be quite open and without blockage and vibrating at a high level. It moves from your first chakra or soul house up through your voice in a specific pathway. And so our Tao song singers activate this, have received this Tao light transmission and activate it when they sing specific healing mantras. And when they activate that transmission and sing, when people listen to the song, it carries a very high frequency and it can heal people just upon listening to it. And so that's what Tao song is. It is, in my view, the future of sound healing.
I agree. And if anyone would love or would like to hear, you can find it on YouTube. Love, Peace, and Harmony it's called, and it sounds wonderful. And it's going to be love at first here. And let's talk about sound love. Let's talk about your healing modalities and how you do your own sound bath and events that I'm looking forward to participate as well. But tell us a little more about your.
Sure. On top of all this work we're discussing, the other aspect of my life is music. I'm a music producer and DJ from Toronto, and my goal really with music is to incorporate these Tao modalities into the live music experience, and in all the tracks that I produce to incorporate Tao song into modern high vibe electronic music. And so it becomes a carrier of that light. And so as much as possible that I'm integrating music with that work and with those modalities. And I have a number of songs coming out with Cheryl O'Rourke soon, who you know.
Amazing.
And yeah, be on the lookout for them. It's going to be very, very high frequency music, so I'm looking forward to it.
Very nice. Well, I want to thank you very, very much. It's been an honor having you as my first guest, and looking forward to more healing, more happy moments, more Tao, more beautiful moments. And thank you so much, Steve.
Thank you, Lori. Thank you for having me.
Whew.
The opinions expressed on the preceding sponsored program were strictly those of its host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those